Hi guys, welcome. I'm feeling nervous to talk. When I share and when I want to express my thoughts, sometimes I forget that I don't have to be at a certain place in life. I don't have to overcome I don't have to be fully on the other side of things that I share about. I can still be in the midst of self-improvement, of self-development. I can still be in the midst of going back to the same habits, patterns that I tell myself I want to grow out of. I can still be as I am today and still share and still create and maybe I can translate my message in a way that resonates with people when I myself am still growing alongside all of you and not having to create a separation between my journey and the one who's watching this. It's almost like I want to carry everyone with me, and we can all embark on our self-discovery together in a community and within our individual selves. So I just want to preference that, because as I started recording, I noticed this nervousness because of pressure to be sort of like an expert at what I'm talking about. But I rather come at a time and space as I'm still working through a lot within my personal life. I think I'm drawn to teachers, not that I claim to be a teacher. We're all students and teachers, but what I'm drawn to people who I draw wisdom from are those that can be their authentic selves. They don't try to portray a version that's more perfected. They just come as they are, and I want to imitate that as well, just coming as I am. There's no real change I'm creating within my life or anyone else's when I place expectations that are not true to my present reality. If I were to be fully present, then I allow myself to be as I am in this moment. And that self is being present, is allowing ourselves to be as we are. And lately I have been just laying back with what I want to indulge in, with substances, whether it's through alcohol or through staying up very late. I just allow myself to have these experiences because I want to delve a little bit into the material side of life a little bit and not always fixate on a spiritual side. I want to indulge in the human experience is what I'm trying to convey, and I'm allowing myself to do it. I'm allowing myself to indulge in the human experience. And that's something I've learned within my journey of self-discovering is I don't have to seek a perfected, and this is what I was writing earlier, is my own journey is unique and special on its own. And I was just reflecting on how I wanted my life to look a certain way for so long, and I'm recognizing how my life is unique on its own. And this was something that I've settled more and more into the last several months. In fact, as I evolve over time, I can just appreciate my life more and more for what it is. And that's what I will be speaking about as well in this video, maybe towards the end, of just appreciating what we have. So I want to delve into the hardest truths that I've come to know so far. And maybe this list, of course, there'll be more hard truths as time goes on, but right now it's just a few I want to mention that has been hardest truths that I've come to know lately. And hard truths, I would define them, and online it defines it as a truth that is difficult to accept, which I would agree as well. This is how I perceive that definition, that word to be, is a truth that is hard to settle into. It's like some are easy, you can accept some, but sometimes in life you're just met with some sort of reality of life, and it can feel discouraging or disheartening at times. And it's just hard to kind of settle into. It's hard to just with it, to exhale with the truth, because there's egoic self wants to oppose that truth, wants to prove it to be wrong, but there's no evidence for it to be wrong. It's just as it is. And I will mention a few that's been on my mind. The first hard truth that has been hard, that I've come to know, is the win of our desires. The win in when things are going to happen for us. When we get that new career, the new lover, the new friendship, the new travel destination, the new house, the new car, the new, or even down to the new heart, if we need a new organ. It's in the hands of the divine. It's in the hands of Source, of God. It's not necessarily something we can control. We can only align ourselves to that desired sense of self, or that desired sense of reality, future. But otherwise, we have to take a step back. We have to take the back seat and just allow divine to do the rest. Because we can't control the when. We just can't force somebody to hire us. We can't force somebody to choose us over somebody else for that house, or we can't choose to be accepted. We can't force to be accepted to a certain loan that we need, or there's only so much. The actions and thoughts and behavior allows us to be aligned to that sense of self or that desired reality. But I've come to know that when things happen for me, it's not only up to me, it's up to divine, because there's a higher power. I see this as we're not only deciding for ourselves, but the Source and the divine has its own hands in our future, because it's carving a path for us. Divine knows, like, when you have to be at this certain place at a certain time so that the next thing happens. And that's how I perceive our paths to be, is we're here at this moment of time so we can be prepared for that next chapter, that next season of our lives. You know, if we're in a relationship that's not healthy for us, maybe we are meant to stay there, even if our minds conflicted of whether to leave an unhealthy relationship or not. Maybe we are meant to stay there because we need more time to prepare ourselves for that that better relationship, that healthier relationship for us. Or maybe we need to stay at a certain job so we can gain certain skills that will help us have the skills we need for that dream career. So we don't always know why our reality could look the same, or that certain desire hasn't happened yet, but divine and source knows. And so where we are now, we don't know why, but there's a certain reason why we're at that certain job, in that relationship, wherever we are exactly, is only to help us move towards that next chapter of our lives. And so that's why I don't think we have control over when things happen, but divine knows why we are where we are. And if we're also only having if our thoughts are just different than what our desire, if our thoughts are actually different than that desire self, then of course we're not going to align ourselves. We have to at least align ourselves to that desire so that divine and God can do the rest. And it's been hard because it's like I myself have a tendency to be impatient. And something about, and I think I've talked about this before, is I'm settling into my personality and seeing that certain traits it can't just disappear. It's a part of all of me, and part of all of me is impatience to what I want to happen in my life. Like sometimes the impatience usually comes in the form of being impatient in when things happen, you know, like maybe I guess that's what impatience is or something. But when I really want something to happen, when I really want a job, or if I really want something, it's like I want it now. I want it right away. I want this to happen right when I tell myself I want it, you know. And sometimes that's been hard because my impatience can come up to the surface, and I meet that desire with impatience, and can never flow with the present moment. If I'm meeting the present moment with impatience, I'm not living in the present. I'm now living in the future. And surrendering to what is now and what is required of me is it's been gradual, but it's possible. As long as we know and remember, and I'll mention this, how we can all navigate these hard truths together. So I'm not gonna delve deeper into that yet, but I just wanna let you guys know that that desire is still gonna be there, whether we meet it 5 years from now, 10 years from now. What we desire will be there for us. Will be there for us. You know, it's not gonna go away. And sometimes life can make it can seemingly, you know, it can seemingly provide an illusion. But remember that that desire is meant for you to have an experience because you have it. And that self is enough reason to know you can act upon it. I think once a message comes through to us of what we want out of life, then that itself is enough validation for us to step into that desire. Like just having that thought, it's like, oh, that's meant for me. I'm going to take that. I'm going to make it what I want it to be, you know? So that itself is a validation from God. It's God's message to your purpose. People, sometimes we can fixate on what our purpose is, and sometimes the answers that come to us is enough for us to act upon it. Maybe that's all the answers you'll receive. Maybe you don't. For me, I waited before to receive certain messages. I waited for more messages to come through, but instead, this is all the information I have, so let me just use that at my disposal, because that's all the messages, that's all the resources and tools that I've been provided with. So let me act upon all these tools that I can use that I've been provided with. Like, thank you, Divine, for giving me a phone to use and giving me space of quietness to make a video. If this is the resources I have, let me use this and show you my gratitude for giving me all these resources. Like, this is abundant for me. This is very abundant. So, yeah. Life can still look beautiful in a lot of ways. Even though that desire is not here yet of what we want, we can still recognize the beauty that we do have in the peacefulness, maybe, of our walk to work or to the cafe around the corner, just to connecting with someone that's around the corner to you, someone you have accessibility to see that's in your area, accessibility of travel, of transportation, of clean water, tap. There's just so much of what we have currently. And sometimes if we recognize that, then we can lean back as to the other desires that maybe are not face-to-face a reality right now. Like, it'll still be there. No matter the desire, it's going to meet me when it's going to meet me. It's going to come to me when Divine wants it to come to me. Like, it's not my job to figure out when things happen. I'm just like, you know what? I'll be here. Whenever you want to just shower me with abundance in the form of wealth, prosperity, I'll be here. If you want to provide me another opportunity when you think it's ready for me to accept it and to maintain that desired reality, when you think I'm ready to maintain that, then you can provide it to me. I'll be here. Just continuously convert and share dialogue with Divine, with Source. Check in with Source, check in with God, and continue that conversation. If you're feeling a little impatient, tell Divine, like, Source, I'm feeling a bit impatient today. Help me navigate through these feelings. Second hardest truth I've come to know is falling in love is a huge risk. It's not like the movies where they meet somebody and suddenly it's just easy transition into love. It's an easy transition into surrendering your whole entire heart to somebody. It's like, it's scary. It's scary to lend someone your heart because you care about this person so much, and you just don't want to shatter and feel broken. Almost like if your heart's not taken care of by this person, then your life just looks completely different. You feel different in your body, and you suddenly don't feel safe, and you suddenly feel isolated or alone. All these different emotions can come up, and it's in the hands of one individual, and so that's a huge responsibility that you're handing over to somebody. And I know I have my fear of commitment. I know that but when you're suddenly in this dance of love, that's when you recognize that there's a huge responsibility that I myself didn't know. I'm 25 and I just got into my first relationship, And I want to actually share more about that, because I did share that I was single and now I'm not. And a year ago, if somebody, and I was telling myself this, if somebody told me next year you're going to have a boyfriend and you're going to spend time with his friends, I'm like, wait, really? That's going to happen just a year from now? Like, who this person will be? Like, who is this person? Like, I'll just be like, wait, what? Only a year from now? Like, because I was projecting singlehood for years to come, maybe until my late 20s, maybe early 30s. But here I am, and I'm just like, wow, my life looks different than a year ago. And then a year before that looks different. And I'll actually touch base on this a little later in this video. But it's a huge risk. I thought it would be something I can just jump into and be like, whoa, wow, I'm finally experiencing this. But it's more like, whoa, I am finally experiencing this. Like, wow, it's a big risk. Like, I keep repeating this thing where I'm like, I tell myself and I tell my lover, like, this is a huge risk. Like, do you know how risky this is? Like, just, it's not something that's taken lightly to me. And that's why I've waited so long, because I just don't take it lightly. You know, to share so much of my time with somebody, and to, that's just, time is so precious. It's one of our most precious, valuable resources, and I don't take that lightly. And so now that I'm in this dance, I'm just like, wow, this is very serious. This is very serious. And I still feel like even talking about it, and I don't want to speed up this process of coming out of this roller coaster of emotions. It's just going to take me some time, and I have to allow myself to take time with what I'm feeling, because it's all new to me. So I'm like constantly like, just like, whew, I gotta just let myself feel all of this. Like, of course I'm gonna feel all of this because it's new. And I feel like there were some times where I'm just like, why am I experiencing at this age? Like, all these people are experiencing this before me. All these people experienced this way before. Like, maybe when they were 18, 19, I'm over here experiencing it now. And I just, for me, it's just a lot of intense feelings, I think, for me when it comes to my intimate relationships. It's with this relationship, it can feel intense with how much I want my heart to be taken care of, and I feel this more intensely. Just talking about it, I recognize how intense these feelings can feel. I've taken risks before. I've taken risk in coming to this big city, but you know, this risk was all on me. When it's a risk that's solely on me, then it's much easier to navigate. But when it's a risk that involves someone else, I can't control somebody else entirely, you know, so, but I can control my own decisions. And so when I take a risk for the sole purpose of my own desire, what I want, then it's easier because it's just me doing it, taking this risk. But I'm bringing someone else along, and that's a whole different kind of risk that I'm not familiar with. So yes, the second, I will reiterate this, but it's just falling in love is a huge risk, is a hard truth I've come to know. Why? Like, I'm just like, that's why it's hard to accept, because it's like, it feels so intense. Just like, ooh, like, it's just that my heart vibrates at the deep feelings that are involved. Like, what? Another hard truth to accept is that discomfort is not going anywhere. Hard, difficult emotions are not going anywhere. Anxiety is not going to go anywhere. I have tried to deny it in the beginning of my journey of of coming home to myself. And I've talked about discomfort in my previous video. If you want to see how I perceive it to be and how I'm navigating it, I sometimes can still recognize when I'm going into dysregulated state because of discomfort, and it's just not going anywhere. It's gonna meet me many times, but the amount of goals I have and aspirations I contain, I know it's gonna meet me again and again and again. It's gonna come knock at my door. It's gonna come knock at my door. And I've recognized what I do when I'm in a state of stress from discomfort. I shut down, I freeze, and that leads to isolation. And the last several months, I have not let myself down the way, or abandoned myself completely. And I still allow myself to live life. I still allow myself to see friends, to take care of my hygiene, and really take care of myself, and to feed myself. And I can still do all those things in a state of stress, in a state of discomfort. No matter how long a meditation session is for, those difficult emotions are not going anywhere. We are just more capable of managing these difficult emotions with mindfulness. And our capacity of tolerance just keeps growing. So it can be helpful in that way. Yeah. And the more we can remember, like, okay, I can feel stressed and density, I can feel discouragement and disappointment, impatience, while feeling anticipation, love, tension. I don't know. Yeah. Sometimes it overcomes. I just think about how sometimes the difficult emotions can overtake us, but we can still hold all of it, and we're capable of holding all of it. Right now, I am in a state of stress for a couple reasons, but I can still remember all the gifts I have in this life and hold all of it together, and remember that I don't have to lean too far into density, because I have so much to lift me up as well. So I think that's the difficulty of living this human experience, is holding it all. Oof. And now I want to touch base on what emotions can come out of it. How can we welcome all of life? But these hard truths that we come to know, what do we do with this information? What do we do with this reality? What do we do with this information? How can we meet this and just still have a sense of control? Because when it comes to feeling, just recognizing and meeting these hard truths, it's almost it unveils how much control we want in our minds. We want to control how things are, and when we are met with these hard truths, we recognize that we don't have much control as much as we want to believe we do. Are our minds telling a different story of how it should be, how we want things to go? It can come down to just repeatedly recognize what we have. Although, whether it's the discomfort and the difficult emotions that we face that we may not control entirely, we can't just completely make it vanish, or we can't just decide when things happen. We can't take the risk out of falling in love. We can't do any of these things. What we can do is just surrender to the human experience. I mean, what we can do is see this as part of the experience of life. And how can we just have a sort of safety vest on, life jacket, I suppose, so that we don't completely drown ourselves in the depth of density that is life sometimes. I am in this current state of difficult emotions and holding on to what I'm anticipating, what I look forward to. So I'm like in both ends and just not completely leaning on the density right now or the stress, because I have so much to lean on with light and with gratitude and with anticipation. I'm just like holding on to both, right? Holding on to this so that I'm not completely like abandoning myself again. And so, and recognizing that my life experience is looking different than it was a year ago. And to remember that my life is always evolving and it's always changing. It's when we going through hard, difficult emotions and the risk that we feel with loving, falling in love, is maybe it can help when we just see that how things change a year. Even if it's a small change, something's not looking the same as it once was. Holding on to the belief that the win of my desires is going to be that my desire is not going anywhere. So it's a matter of perspective. A lot of this matter of perspective. And I'm now facing these difficult, hard truths with settling into it more. Just be like, you know what? Okay, this is how my life looks. Okay, like, I may be working at this job still, but look, I also have this space. I also have loving people around me. I know some good people, some genuine people. I have some clothes to put on my back. I have water. I don't like to just say, oh, you have clean water. Yeah, it's amazing. But it's just like, remember, like, just have, like, when you're facing something that's hard to accept, just be like, just have your receipts. Just come through with the receipts on your end in your mental state. Just be like, you know what? I'm facing this hard truth, but look, I got all of this to back me up. Like, just bring it to the forefront of your mind, you know? Just feel like you have an army behind you of like, you know, yeah, this aspect of life, of course, it's hard to accept you as a part of my life right now, but at least I have all of this I have all of this with me as well. I just have your, like, posse, like, have your protection, I guess, to show for it. I don't know if I don't know if that actually can, if you guys can kind of get where I'm going with this, but just meet life and meet life with just less control. Like, just be like, you know, could just keep just going down my path, and whenever you're ready, just, I'm ready whenever you are, kind of thing. Like, divine, I am ready whenever you are. The less control I have on my mind, I place on mind, that can flow, then I can flow with more grace and gratitude, bringing me closer to divine, to God, hearing more from source of truth. We're here to have an experience. We're here to just lay back and just like, just let me stop at this station. Whenever Divine wants the train to stop and me to come out and go to that station, a new station. I don't know how you want to perceive it, but I just hope that we can all just lean back a little bit at times and just remember, like, oh, I got this too. I got this in life. I got this. I got all of this right now. Like, I'm gonna move forward with, like, just appreciating what I have and just knowing that I'm trying to, like, preach right now, but I don't know how much is conveying to all of you. All I want us to do is just all I want us to do is just lean back in what we're trying to control. Just lean back a little bit. This South Node and Virgo right now, maybe we can all just, you know, have its effects on us, you know, a little bit. Just let go and release of, like, you know, if they want to hire a new person instead, someone else, then, you know, they're meeting their needs. As long as their needs are met, that business needs are met, then by the grace of God, like, thank you for providing that business to have the person they need. Like, they're blessing to have, you know, thank you God, thank you Source for allowing this person to have a job. You know, like, it doesn't have to be me. Maybe that's someone else's blessing. So that comes with releasing control. This ties in with the first hard truth of when things happen. Like, that's someone else's blessing. Sometimes we gotta take a step back. Like, not everything's for us to grab and hold on to. I'm recognizing that as well. Maybe I'll make a separate video about that, because I'm allowing other people to have that job and that, you know, the desire we want. It's just, I'll have a certain version of that myself. Divine will give me a version of that from me. It's not all for me, for the taking, you know. There's so many people who deserve so many blessings in life as well. So just take a step back. This is my final message is take a step back. You know, allow yourself to just lean to what we have, I guess. I'm just thankful for being able to provide these messages of truth, of sharing that this is not easy, I guess. This is not easy sometimes to meet ourselves where we're at. It's not. And I struggle with that, and I just want people to just allow themselves to be like, you know, I want things differently, but let's just ease that control a little bit. So yeah. I just thank you guys for just allowing yourself to hear messages of truth, of your own truth, of listening to your own inner dialogue and questioning it, and just wanting to evolve your own self as well, to just discover yourself and to grow into more of your higher self. I just appreciate that you taking the time to just be a higher version of you. Like, you're doing God's work, literally, so appreciate it. Maybe I'll continue just doing what Divine tells us to do, really. Stepping into that. Happy 2025, and I'm glad I can spill some helpful truths to you guys in this new year.